We live? We're going to assume we're live. Skylar has told us that we are. Everybody, it is Gerard Michaels. Welcome back to another Gerard versus Evil. And Biden is out. Jill Biden, I guess, finally got bought off enough that 10% for the big girl was enough for the Biden crime family to step aside for the next election. Not the presidency, of course. They're not done robbing us just yet. We have many more months of that to come. Joined with me today are the beautiful white collar kids, Megan and Amanda Merlot, two Jersey girls. This is their second time on. How are you today, ladies?
What up? We're good.
Hello, thanks for having us once again.
Oh, my pleasure. The comments, now 50% of the comments loved you, 50% of the comments loathed you. What do you have to say to the commenters now that you're back for a second time around?
How do we get the other 50% to hate us?
I love it. That's what we're talking about. And of course, in the production booth, today we've got Skylar Kelly on the comms. Skylar Kelly on the comms there. And the King Gooner himself, Christian Perello, is overseeing production from the back there. That's Skylar Kelly. If there are issues with the audio, you make sure to bully him intensely in the comments until he gets better or unalives himself. So, guys, big day. We've known that this is coming. The people that have been telling us that we need desperately to get rid of one candidate in order to protect democracy have now, for the third time in the last 3 elections, completely circumvented their own electoral process. They have skipped their own primaries in order to put the election in the hands of the donors and the very select elite few in the Democratic Party. Bernie Sanders was beating Hillary Clinton, and they cheated him out of that primary not once but twice. It looked as if Joe Biden wasn't going to run in 2020. He waited as long as humanly possible, and then he was hand-selected by the superdelegates, and then he was able to get 81 million votes in that 2020 election. The most popular president of all time is not even getting his party's nomination for re-election. Wild how things can change in 4 years. Some would say perhaps even suspicious. What do you girls have any perspective on the matter?
I feel like it's sus. Very strange timing. Do you think he actually has COVID? A lot of questions. Who's coming next? I want to sing Ding Dong the Witch is Dead, but I feel like, no, she's not.
Yeah.
I don't know which witch is coming, but what are your predictions?
Yeah, sometimes the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know, right? And if we go back, there's a lot to, I hate this phrase, but there's a lot to unpack here, right? You have, within a week, Biden gets calls from his own party to step down. Says, no, I'm not stepping down. Jill Biden and Hunter Biden seclude him away like Game of Thrones, keep him away from his small council. Then you have an assassination attempt on the former president and the presumptive leader of this presidential race. And now it seems like there's just so many questions about that assassination attempt. We're supposed to believe that some 20-year-old high school reject who doesn't even have social media has 3 encrypted international bank accounts, was able to get not 1 but 2 rifles up onto a roof that's surrounded by local police, federal agents, and Secret Service, ran a drone over it to check the area an hour before, crawled on his belly for 2 whole minutes while everybody was like, hey, there's a shooter, and then got 5 shots off at the president of the United States, or the former president, I should say, before he was taken down. Now, there's some people who are claiming that there is some audio forensics that suggest there was a second shooter. And now you start to say, well, this seems like a playbook. This seems like a Kennedy playbook. This seems like they did it to Kennedy twice. Lee Harvey Oswald, right? So, and now you start to say, now, as people are starting to ask these questions, there's a global tech shutdown. There's a meltdown of cybersecurity. And the conspiracy theory in you goes, what are they wiping? What files are they destroying? And now after that, the president of the United States says he's not going to run for re-election. And they're not going to have a primary. They're essentially going to appoint somebody to run for president. And if you're like me, even though this gets you kicked off of social media, and you don't believe that Joe Biden really had 81 million voters. I believe he got 81 million votes. I believe there were 81 million votes counted for Joe Biden. But do I believe 81 million Americans voted for Joe Biden? I do not. And if you believe that, then where are those 81 million Americans now screaming from the rooftops that their man is getting railroaded?
Right.
Where are the 81 million Americans right now screaming that their choice for president, who is still president, is being railroaded by the Democratic Party? I haven't heard
That's-
one person.
Either a lot of people changed their minds since they saw grocery pricing and gas prices, or they were never there. I don't know.
They were never there. Either, yeah,
What do you
either
think?
so
Either they got real pissed and they changed their tune
Mhm.
on him, or they never existed.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, or they existed in theory, and now the people that made them exist have decided they're going to exist for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care whether you believe that that is fudged voter rolls, whether you believe it is, dead people voting, double voting, triple voting, ballot harvesting. There are people that are taking victory laps. They're saying that Trump is in. This is now Trump's election. And I'm sitting here, to your point, Amanda, saying the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. It was going to be remarkably hard for them to cheat Joe Biden in. He's very unpopular. Even with Democrats, he's very unpopular. The prices are insane. The things that he's done to the border and our foreign policy are just ludicrous. And the fact that they're allowing him to continue on as president just tells you exactly what they think of us as people, right? They're like, shut up and we'll tell you who runs the place. You know, whether
Which is actually scary and very concerning, because I feel like us as Americans, what is the point of voting at this point anymore? If really it's not the people's choice at this point anymore. But
do you, well, let me ask you a direct question. And in your opinion, do you think Joe Biden has been running the country as president? Do you think he's been the president?
No.
Not in recent time.
no,
Not when since
not in recent time. I agree.
At least the last year.
at least the last year. You don't think it's been him?
I'm not sure though.
Yeah. So I mean, then who is it? That begs the question, right? Like, who is it? Now apparently,
Not his VP, but in my opinion,
you don't think it's Kamala either.
I don't think it is.
And you don't think? Do you think they're going to run
They
with
can't
Kamala?
Do a proper press conference with a basketball team.
Yeah.
She's not running anything.
She seems like she's almost never sober.
I wish I was on whatever she's on.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's just whiskey. I think you can be on it. I think it's just, I think she wants people to think she's a Hennessy girl, but she's really a whiskey girl,
I just feel every time I've heard her speak,
Yeah.
I can't follow what point she's trying to get across.
I think
She's
it'll be
nice
great.
to look at though, kind of like
Do you think so?
I think so.
She got a big old neck, boy. That's
Oh.
that's a lot of chicken head going on to get a neck that veiny.
Oh no.
That's a lot of gluck gluck. That's a thick neck. That's a square jaw.
All I care about is what's up here in the noggin. The neck doesn't concern me. The head does. Another
What
story.
are you trying to say? You're a sapiosexual
No,
for
yeah,
Kamala Harris?
brains, yeah, but that's not what I'm not saying she has the brains. I'm just saying they can't orchestrate a little PR thing. So I don't think she's running the country. I don't think he is. I don't know who is behind the scenes.
Mhm.
Who's behind the curtain.
Well, some people are saying it's
but-
Jill Biden. They're saying that Dr. Jill is making a lot of the decisions, which is pretty remarkable because we didn't vote for her for anything.
No.
I don't think she's ever been in any public office ever. And this was the thing when Michelle Obama back in the day was taking on, even things that you could agree with making school lunches healthier, and you're sitting here going okay, that's great. Who voted for her? What
Yeah.
what position of who gave her the right to do anything?
Well, if my husband was in office, I would put my 2 cents in.
Would you?
Of course,
Have you-
especially about healthy lunch.
Have you ever been at a job where the wife of the boss decided that she was running the place?
Yes.
No,
Yeah, that's a shitty job. That's a job everyone quits. Nobody quits jobs, they quit bosses. And when the boss's wife decides to come in and start acting and you're sitting here going
She might be able to do a good job.
you ain't my boss though. Then
That's not my boss,
do
yeah.
the job.
Mhm.
Then hire her. Or in our case, let us vote for you.
Yep.
Mhm.
But you don't get to like just start doing stuff because you're fucking the guy
Yeah,
that
that's
got
fair.
voted
You
for.
don't push buttons, and yeah, that's unreal.
So-
Actually,
so
when you think
does-
about it, would an astronaut allow his like old lady to come on board for the ride? Like
Yeah.
that's a fucking scary thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you sure? My wife says we shouldn't decelerate into the atmosphere. I don't. Yeah, it's
She didn't go
insanity.
to school for this, but
Yeah, and what if it's not just your wife? So then it opens up for everything else. Do the mistresses get to have a say in here as well? The gay lovers, do they get to have a say?
I
Like,
think they should.
yeah, why
I
not?
always wanted to have say.
I
but
love when a good mistress, the good old mistress chimes in.
The big, I
the
think that
gumad.
I think the last time the mistress tried to chime in on American politics, she, her lover, and her lover's brother all ended up
Is
murked.
this a Kennedy
I
joke?
This is a
Yeah,
Kennedy.
of
It's not a
course it
Kennedy
is.
joke
See?
either. This
You know
is
what that
It's an
brings
American
me?
tale.
this is yeah.
That's pretty good tea for me. So
Yeah. I think
from
I-
an entertainment standpoint, it's nice.
And from a mistress standpoint, it's not
from a mistress
no, just
standpoint,
now.
what's happening here?
nice.
damn.
Yeah, I'm fairly positive that our deep state murked Marilyn Monroe. I'm fairly
100%.
positive. She kept calling the White House phone number. Jackie O told her to stop calling, and then it was just like, all
Yeah,
right.
You gotta
and
stop
I
calling
forgot
after
the
that.
name of the documentary that I watched on Marilyn Monroe. It was like unheard tapes,
Mhm.
and I think it was her therapist's family that had gotten to know her very, very well. And yeah, well, after seeing that documentary, I was like, the Kennedys
Yeah,
had everything to do with this.
Everyone in New England is awful, so I'm not surprised.
New England. Yeah,
hmm
why is that?
You're
No, I lived there for
boring.
quite I lived there for a little bit, and I learned the
Yeah,
hard way. Yeah, very hard people to break into.
yeah. You're not. You're not.
Yeah.
If you're not a
I-
blue blood,
Yeah,
if you're not born into the
Yes.
New England vibe.
the
Yeah.
New England families. There was
Mhm.
that the Cape Cod families or whatever. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, as it turns out, my ex, would you consider Connecticut New England?
Yeah.
Just enough.
We might be onto something there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
very
might be.
cold people, Puritans.
Yeah, something like that.
Puritan.
Well, look, and that's the whole thing too, because because of Bobby Kennedy, the Kennedys have now been seen as like this very empathetic figures, like that were killed by this rogue government, and they were. But they did some murking of their own there. Now because of because Bobby Kennedy sounds like a human vibrator, we're gonna act like Chappaquiddick didn't exist.
He's a great person, and I wish he was the VP.
Is that right?
Mhm.
Do you know what Chappaquiddick was?
Yes, I did.
What's Chappaquiddick?
Car accident, mysterious drowning of the pregnant mistress girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
That's called goodbye. That's what the mob calls swimming, sleeping with the
That's it.
fishes, right?
Taking care of business.
You got to sometimes.
Nope. Yeah, I hear you. And I think that's kind of maybe what ended up happening with Biden here. They told Biden, we don't want you. He said, I don't care what you want. I'm the president. And then they sent in old Hillary. She was like, hey, you just give me the word.
Is she coming back?
I think one of the problems going behind the scenes, and I've heard this from people, is there's a big fight. There's, for the first time in a very long time, there's not a lot of unity.
Do you think it's between three women?
I think it's Gretchen Whitmer. Well, do you consider Gavin Newsom a woman?
I thought you were gonna say Gretchen Wieners.
So,
I thought-
well,
I
there's
thought
Gretchen.
that's
There's
it,
Gretchen
yes.
Whitmer.
Okay.
She is she's the botched, Botoxed governor of Michigan, who is somehow popular in the Democratic Party despite
Let her live. Maybe she wants to-
insane draconian lockdowns. No, and she plotted her own kidnapping to raise her poll numbers.
Wow.
And yeah,
That's-
which used to be a conspiracy theory that'd get you kicked off, and now it's been adjudicated in court that it 100% happened, and they did actual entrapment of guys with 80 IQs to try to make it seem like Republican white supremacists were threatening to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer because she supported Black Lives Matter. But when really everybody was just upset that she wouldn't let people buy paint because of COVID. So, yeah, she's in it. Gavin
Paint?
Newsom, Gavin Newsom, to me, is the scum of the earth. This is Nancy Pelosi's used car salesman nephew, who looks like he uses actual slime in his hair. This is a man that has spent $40 billion of his taxpayer money on homelessness and made it worse. This is a man that, and we went over this on Gerard versus David last time. What $40 billion? We thought we did the math on this, Christian. It could have built $250,000 homes. If they just built houses with the money, 250,000. You know, so if there's 2 homeless to a house, now I know that won't solve homelessness. I know that it won't. That's 500,000 homeless off the streets right there, living pretty nice. You know, that's right there. If we get 3 to a house, forget it. 750,000. Now I understand those are turn into crack dens, and it's a mental health issue. Blah blah blah. The point is, $40 billion goes missing. This guy has had millions of his own citizens leave his state. Now it's a joke and it's a punchline, right? Don't California my Texas. Yeah. Don't California my Nashville. Don't California my Florida. This guy has made his state synonymous with don't destroy with stupidity, right? And now he wants to be president of the United States. And it's funny until it's not, because you can leave a state. We all left a state. Mm-hmm. As much as it sucks, you can leave a state.
And you know, California was my first choice. I would have gone there before coming down here to Florida.
No, I did not know that.
But it's the most beautiful state in my opinion, weather-wise, scenery-wise. I love it. I've always loved it. I have tons of friends there, and I could do quite well with what I do for work there. I will not go there. I don't feel safe. It is a disgrace what he has done to that state. It's unreal. And if that's what our country is going to turn into, it is alarming, to say the least. You can't eat outside. I can't walk. I can't walk in broad daylight in certain areas that I used to enjoy quite a bit. It's scary.
We're talking about LA specifically.
I'm talking about LA.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Orange County in a couple years.
Or San Francisco, even. I mean, I won't even dare go to San Francisco right now.
San Francisco's brutal.
But LA, all parts.
Yeah, LA's a shithole. But in fairness, LA's always had a bit of grime to it, right? I mean, that's kind of been the appeal to it. But now it seems like there's actual like physical crime, physical danger. It's kind of like crossed a chasm in some ways where there was always kind of a unwritten rule, like, all right, like I'll let you do heroin in the street and you can rob the CVS, but like you're gonna leave me alone, right?
You know where to stay and vice versa. Now it's like, I was talking to a friend who thought a shootout was on a TV, like in the other room, and it was across the street in West Hollywood, very safe area of West Hollywood. Like, just like an everyday, like a Tuesday afternoon. Like
you're just out there having your pool party at the Standard, and it's, you know, Mad Max outside, you know?
Pretty much. I miss the Standard down there.
Yeah, it's a good time. The California is beautiful. California, it's Hollywood, right? But it has gone crazy. It's gone insane. Everything that they believe is antithetical to having a Western civilization. You either believe in this Western society that has built the most prosperous civilization in the history of the world, or you don't, and they don't, right? And they try to rebrand themselves, which I think is the part of it that upsets me more even than their governance, is the fact that they think that we're idiots. Like, you know, oh, I'm a capitalist and I'm going to bring jobs. What did you do for the last 8 years? Right. Like they talk to us like we're idiots, and that bothers me, I think, more than anything else. And it's the same thing now with Joe Biden. Everybody and their mother, Joe Biden is a good man and a great American, and he has served his country. Joe Biden is a good man and a great American? Joe Biden? We're talking about the dude that sent his crackhead son on a worldwide tour soliciting bribes at our expense. This is a great man. A guy that hung out with literal segregationists and racists. This is a great man. Mm-hmm. A guy that tried to get Clarence Thomas kicked off of the Supreme Court, tried to block him. The first black guy ever on the Supreme Court tried to block him. Great man. Joe Biden is a great man and a great American. This is a guy that has been caught doing so much shady shit for so often. He was kicked out of the first presidential primary he tried to run for plagiarism. Joe Biden is not a great man on any stretch of the imagination. Let's get that out the way. Yeah. Joe Biden is a spiteful cunt. He is a guy that he weaponized the entire government against his, this is Gerard versus evil. Say whatever you want. This is the truth. This is a man that weaponized the state against its own citizens. I do not want to hear this is a good man. I do not want to hear Nancy Pelosi's a good person with her insider trading ass. I do not want to hear that any of these people that have supported eliminating your rights, censoring you, stealing your money and locking you down, and then sending it abroad to their donors, they're not good people. They're criminals. And they shouldn't be treated as good people.
They are criminals. And it's actually insane that I think the thing that frustrates me with liberals is that you want to pick apart, whether you like Donald Trump or not, you pick apart Donald Trump and everything he has done that is wrong. But Joe Biden does no wrong.
Yeah, they never seem to see the hypocrisy in what they're saying ever.
Yeah.
You're right.
Or it's justified.
Ah, now I think you're onto something there. I think because you do hear them say that, like, yeah, what we're doing is wrong.
But what? You
But
want to crucify Trump on things?
It's gotta
Again,
be equal.
it'll never be equal.
I could agree
No.
that, okay, I don't agree with every single thing that Trump does. I don't agree with every single thing that Biden has done.
Yeah.
You just got to pick which one's going to be better, right? If you don't like either one, that's fine. Or,
Just look at
they're
the
two bad
facts.
people, fine. But which one has the country's best interest, right? But I think going back to what we had just said, it's justified on the left.
Yeah, well, they say it is, right? Like, so, to your point, and it could be something as superficial as all those morons who are wearing tape on their ears at the RNC, like those goobers, right? Like putting the tape on their right ear, like they're wearing Trump bandage merch. Those are goobers. Those are morons. But the people on the right will say, those are goobers.
Yeah.
Those are morons.
Exactly.
Take that off your ear, loser. Like, what are you doing? That's people on the right will look at other people on the right and be like, what are you doing? People on the left see somebody kneel down wearing a dashiki and put their fist in the air going, Black Lives Matter. And they're like, should we kneel? Or you should all kneel. Like somebody who says, oh, look at these idiots wearing 2 bandages on their ears. And it's like, yeah, they are idiots. Take your mask off. You're driving inside.
Right.
It's just you. Like, you don't, like,
right.
these are the people calling it insane.
Yeah.
They never, to your point, they never look at it from the perspective of, look at what you're saying. Like, people talk to me all the time. They're like, you're so anti-vax and Trump was the biggest vax salesman. And I'm like, I send them the interview we did with Roger Stone, where I blasted Trump for a half hour on why the hell did he keep going with the vax? This was so stupid. And Roger Stone agreed. Trump, for whatever reason, you don't have to agree with everything these guys say.
No.
And the fact that they do jump on and they do say, well, we're defending democracy. It's okay that we kicked this person off of a platform. I mean, if you really go back and look at it, because it feels like America's healing a little bit now.
Yeah.
Feels like we went through a divorce in some ways.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Like Hillary, everybody, like, these were all the women. They felt scorned by Trump and they were like, we want a divorce. I'm taking my pink hat and I'm fucking leaving. And now you look, dude, that was 8 years ago now.
Yeah.
That was 8 years ago. And over the course of the last 8 years, it's like we have gone through a separation period and the dust is finally settling. I don't know if it took Trump getting shot at and standing up, but the people finally came out and said, they came out of the closet as Republicans in certain places. And you're looking back at some of the stuff that's happened over the last 8 years and you're like, man, this has been ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's been
I
insane.
also think at that point too, I mean, there's an assassination attempt. You're really going to stand behind the Democratic Party now? I mean, that's a side that they're all about acceptance and love. That's pure hatred right there.
They're not
And
about
violence.
acceptance and love.
There is none of that.
You ever seen a white woman,
hypocritical.
you ever seen a white liberal woman when she meets a black conservative?
I'm related to some.
A white liberal woman?
A lot of them.
When she meets a black conservative, you ever seen that?
No,
in
I've never seen
person?
it live.
You will never
Wow.
see more racist behavior ever in the history of
They're
your life.
licking asshole a little bit.
No, the opposite.
Oh, it's a black conservative.
yeah.
Okay.
No, like they'll like, it's Chelsea Handler. It's like I had to remind him he was black. It's like, oh, thank you.
You're very
thank you.
well spoken. What?
Yeah,
Are
dude.
you out of your mind?
Yeah, it's
What would you assume otherwise?
Like, can't they just be an American that's educated?
No,
or-
they're not-
or
they're
just,
not
like, that
allowed.
just speaks?
they're
That
not
they're
allowed
the
agency.
worst people.
They're not allowed agency, and in some ways they feel like they should be celebrated for what they've done on your behalf. They look at them and they're like, you're welcome. You're welcome. And it's like, huh?
No, I'm just picturing.
Name
it.
your family members out loud right now.
Pamela Stone, Danielle Rich.
Oh, did it.
Diane Rich. You know who you are, baby. I
Yeah,
hope you're
dude.
watching.
The future here, I would not under any circumstance. Now, what I think is going to happen, I think that they have a wag the dog situation. I think they're going to pick somebody, and everybody in the media is going to go full blown PR and just make it seem like they're polling better than anybody's ever been polling. America is so excited for these new candidates. Oh, they've gone up 15 points in the polls in the last 2 months. Nobody's ever seen such excitement, because they have to make it close enough that when they actually do steal it, it seems plausible.
Exactly.
You know, and I just don't know how you stop the steal. How do you fight against the deep state? How do you fight against the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, Homeland Security, NATO, the UN? These are the apparatuses that destroyed the USSR. These are the apparatuses that won the Cold War. And now they're all turned on us.
That's scary.
Right? I mean, think about that. If you really think about that for a second, all of these bureaucracies were created to win a Cold War. The Cold War is not here anymore. But those
But they're still
bureaucracies
here.
are still here. And the eye of Sauron is now pointed on us. It's now pointed on your social media. It's now pointed on you and your loved ones, right? And as people, now you come from a family that's run afoul of the law, right? And once they get you in your crosshairs, they have a million different ways to get you and bleed you out until they do.
Yeah. You're a baseball guy.
Mhm.
The MLB, if there was one organization, one team winning 99.6 or 99.4% of all their games
Mhm.
year round, would you say that's something's unfair? They have an unfair advantage. That's the Southern District of New York, the
Yep.
FBI. That's who my family had to. My
Go
one
against.
person or one family member had, as a single person, had to go against unlimited resources, unlimited. They win 99.6, I believe, percent of their
Year in and
cases.
year out.
I'm not sure what it is. This was
99.6.
years ago when
All right,
we were
so-
dealing with this.
So for people that don't know, and if you want to learn more about this, you guys can check out their podcast, The White Collar Kids. They'll talk about it at length. But tell the Gerard versus Evil goons and gals. And obviously, Skylar, if there's any comments, call them out at any time.
Yeah, of course, man. We got a few.
Then what the fuck are we waiting for?
All right. So
Do not cut to
As they
that. Do not cut to
do not cut to that.
No, do not cut to the comments. Just speak them out
Okay.
loud. Hey, as
All
as
right,
as
so-
they come in, Skylar, as they come in, say,
Got
say, excuse me, guys, we have a comment from Breast Milk 69, and all right,
All right. So from San Joaquin, we got a simple hello.
what's up, San Jacqueline? How you doing, man?
What up, Sammy?
BSO says shout out Fresno, Madra Ice and Liquor.
All right, Fresno, we got North Cal in the place. Love
Hey,
it.
California. I wish they could all be California boys.
I wish they could all.
Christian Perello says these girls are great.
That we love Christian Perello. He's a handsome goon.
And Uncircused says W Stream.
W stream.
Yeah.
That's just what he says. W stream.
Yep.
I don't understand.
I don't.
But
get
okay,
it.
thanks. I have a feeling that is probably something racist. But okay.
Stream just means you're winning stream. It's like streamer talk.
We have
Oh,
a young person in the house.
nice.
To-
Thank you.
that's what we're talking about.
Yay.
Thanks, man.
We love
nice.
a nice W.
That's what we
Okay.
need. You know, this is how I know I'm getting old when Christian has to tell me what like things mean. You know, like it's like on some levels getting old is cool. I can afford dope watches, but on other levels, like it's like, what is Riz? I
We were
don't.
just talking about this the other day at
I
work, which
had
was
to-
really funny because it's just, yeah, it's just comical. Like how old we feel now. I'm
Mhm.
like, what are some of these words?
I will tell you though.
I had to do Urban Dictionary. I asked somebody younger than me out for drinks, and I was like, "How's
Skylar, when the
things
girls
going?"
are talking, go ahead and put them on camera. Thank you, buddy.
Hello.
It's a lot going on over there.
Yes, I texted somebody, see how they were doing. Somebody I haven't seen in some
3
time.
o'clock in the morning?
Little bit.
Little, hey,
no,
how you doing?
not at all.
You up?
Baby,
Baby, why you calling
and they said they were. I said, "Have you
so
been?"
late?
I love that song.
It's really hard to talk right now. Anyway, as you were saying, the booty
My
call.
girls in
The next room.
Oh,
Sometimes I wish she was you. I guess
Guess
we
we
never really moved on.
That is so toxic. that song.
It's really good to hear your voice screaming my name. It sounds so sweet
Coming
on
from
the
the
lips of an angel. I think we're
I'm
good.
so sorry,
Yeah.
everyone.
Yep.
Guys.
Papa Roach, I think.
No, Hinder.
No.
Excuse me.
Get her the fuck out. Get him out. Hinder, I am so
Definitely
sorry.
Hinder.
I am so sorry.
Definitely Hinder.
So the guy you were booty calling used Riz and that's it. You
No,
were
he
out.
didn't say. I don't know. He didn't say Riz. He's just like he said. Just Boolin. How about you?
Just booling?
Yes, and I had to say. I didn't say what is that, and I asked Megan, and she's like, just chilling. Why? Who are you talking to?
Also, I just learned that
Booling? Spell it.
it's
Boolin.
It's like
Oh,
just
like
coolin'.
cooling?
But apparently, and correct
It's
me if I'm
Boolin.
wrong, the Bloods
Yeah.
take all the words
With a C, and they make them B's.
and they make them B's.
Yes,
Did
makes
you
it-
tell me this?
I don't know if it was me, but I do
But-
know it makes it very hard for them to get proper diagnoses from doctors.
This was a fintech nerd. What does he
Yeah.
know about what the Bloods and the Crips do?
So
Have you ever seen
Bullet-
Office Space?
no.
He's the fintech nerd who's Michael
I mean,
Bolton, but he's
That's what I'm saying. Like, what do you know about the Crips? Why would I?
don't know. No, but so when I had found that out, I was like, oh, that's why it's bullying. But
That's why it's
but like bullying has become like such a term now, and it's really funny because I don't like it.
There was another one. What did Austin say?
I don't like any of them,
Bussin'.
to be honest. I
Not
like.
bussin'.
I can't think of the last. Bussin' is the one I hate.
I'm
Like,
gonna look
I
it
think
up.
it's even worse when guys my age try keeping up with the slang. I think it's like even like one of my buddies used the
Fair.
term ops the other day,
Oh, yeah,
unironically, and I
yes.
was like, I feel like I want to fight you.
I
I-
like bet.
Like, well, I've been saying
like
bet since I
bet.
was in high
I'm
school.
like, oh, bet. Like you betcha. Like that's kind of what it means. And they were like, yeah. kinda.
Nah, we've been saying bet from way back in the day. We've been saying bet.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Bet's an old one.
Bricked
uh,
up.
Oh,
Brick-
that's what it was. Bricked up.
Bricked up?
I had to look and see what that meant.
I
That
know
was
because
disgusting.
I know what bricked up meant,
you know what
but
that means?
bricked up means
All the men
a
know they're smirking.
Hard AF.
yeah.
Like I'm bricked up.
Yeah, that's not a new one.
ready to go right
That
now.
was
Nah.
new to me.
I've been bricked up for decades.
I mean, I hadn't really. I may have heard that before,
It's
but
an
like
honor
I knew
to
what
have
it
you
was right
bricked
away.
up,
Like,
but
duh.
don't ever say that to me.
Nah, bricked up. Yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah, none of this. I hate it all.
I
Like,
hate
there's
it.
not like. Maybe this is a generational thing. When like the word cool first came out, I wonder if like Gen
Frank
X was like,
Sinatra
what do you
was
mean it's
cool.
cool? I don't. Yeah, it's warm in here. What are you saying, friend? Yeah, I don't get it. But anyway, talking. You made a really good point before about. I did not know. So the Southern District of New York has a 97% win rate.
Yes.
Is that? Can we look that up, guys? Is that something that we can verify? And you're so to tell people your story, please, if you could tell them where white collar kids come from and how you know this.
Okay, I have a family member, our father. He is an absolute hardworking, amazing individual, kind of a nerd. So when this situation happened, it was quite different. It switched up our lifestyle for sure. His partner, and long story short, his partner did something illegal. He kind of took the blow for it, and not kind of, he took the blow for it. And we could get into this. This is very like complex, but the way they cut deals with people that have already been in trouble before. The person that got him in trouble was a failed Wall Street guy. He's been in trouble. He made a deal, kind of must have done something behind the scenes with the government to get to bigger guys, but the little guys at the bottom get the brunt of
Well,
it.
we're skipping over a lot of stuff. Let's instead of yada yada yada, let's be as specific as possible. So, it's public knowledge. We're not outing anybody on anything, right? So, what was your father accused and convicted of?
Wire fraud, conspiracy of wire fraud, and identity theft.
Okay,
There-
and this was his business partner's.
This was his business partner that did the crime with
Got it.
somebody that owned a building in Manhattan.
Okay.
They said that something was inherited. My dad was in the insurance financial services industry, and he would give a lot of work to his partner, who was a Wall Street guy, more like stocks and bonds and whatnot. My dad did not touch. So he was in his client who he had other insurances with. Was like, oh, I have these stocks and bonds I was inherited, and and he's like, I don't handle that stuff, but let me put you in touch with Greg. So his partner took a friend of ours, and behind the scenes, these were not inherited. They were the maintenance person in this
stolen.
building stole them.
Okay.
So
Stolen bonds. Yeah.
So we oddly enough, were at our parents' house as they were down here in Florida tending to my old grandmother, and they rampaged our house. I don't.
There was
the they
12
being
Oh, the FBI.
The
yeah,
FBI.
there was 12 FBI agents that came to our home and raided our house. And Amanda and I are in our beds. This is also at 5:52 in the morning, and ringing the doorbell, banging on the door. I thought our house was about to get broken into. I had no idea what was going on. And next thing you know, I just hear footsteps coming towards my room, and multiple. And I have two male FBI agents with guns in my faces as I'm in bed.
5:52.
That's what she woke up to.
That's what I
Wow.
had
She had
woken
no
up
idea.
to.
I knew of the partner getting in trouble, so I had like a little bit of a backstory at least. So when I answered the door, I actually thought my sister was in an accident because I knew they were like police force, sort of. And when they opened the door, they almost like knocked me over. So then I was like, oh, this isn't like somebody coming to inform us of an accident or bad news. This is someone out to get us. Like it was very bizarre, and they were,
They wouldn't allow
they
us
were
in
armed.
our own home. We actually asked them, do you have a warrant? And they wouldn't answer our question. So they didn't present a warrant to us.
They wouldn't tell us why they were
wouldn't
there.
tell us why they're in our home with their guns in my 19-year-old face. And
They wouldn't
the
let me
FBI
inform my
that has
sister to
so
get
many
dressed.
resources. You didn't know that my dad took a flight to Florida, and you guys just came from the Southern District of New York City to New Jersey for what?
Mm-hmm. Mhm.
You guys don't know that he's not there.
Right.
That and they
The way
said,
they treated us as
asked
if we were
me,
running some sort of
brothel.
you could not
Like,
even like I would imagine
You would
like
have thought it was
a meth operation would be treated this way.
yeah.
The way I was wearing a t-shirt. I just got out of my, I woke up at 5:50 in the morning out of my sleep. I was wearing a long t-shirt, and I was like, excuse, knowing that it was a man, I wasn't opening the door. I'm like, give me a second, I need to get dressed. They barged in anyway, and wouldn't let me, at least get my sister. They were like, where's your dad? Where's your mom? Where's your dog? Where's your dog is like something that they kept saying.
Yeah,
And I
because
was like,
they'll kill the dog
yeah,
if it runs
he was
at
a
'em.
Pomeranian.
Yeah.
So, and they probably would.
They've killed.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they put me in a corner, and they would not answer. Why are you here? What are you here for? Where is my sister? Let me get my sister. Nothing. So cornered me, treated us like we were criminals. And yeah, so that nightmare started in 2018.
They do those
I
raids
didn't
at 6
say-
o'clock in the morning, by the way, because most attorneys don't go into work until 9 a.m.
Right.
And it can take over 2 hours to do the raid.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you have an attorney on retainer, you won't be able to get them to come in.
Right.
Yeah.
So they anyway sat us down and were playing games, asking a lot of questions. Is it normal for your parents to go to Florida? Yeah, my grandmother lives there. She's blind. She needs help. My aunt was on a trip. What do you need to know this for? Like no answers, and like head games, and the head games went on over and over and over again. My dad obviously dealt with it,
I
and he
stared
wanted
right
to talk
at
to them
them.
because at this point he was so frustrated with his partner and what they were doing, and he was so ready to speak because that's him. He's such an honest guy. He's such a man of his community and of his church and just of the law. Like he's a person that stops
This man
for
hasn't
3
had
seconds at a stop sign.
a traffic ticket in
It's
25
insane.
years.
And so
it's just it's unbelievable.
and our one aunt said he did not want to make a deal because
he would not make a
he's
deal
like,
because he believed he didn't do anything wrong, and
he will not admit to a
um,
crime he didn't
yeah.
commit. So that was his mindset, and he had to play games with them over and over. He kept going back, no, I will give you the entire story. They didn't want to talk to him. They didn't let him have his side. They got their deal. They wanted to
And it's
They-
your understanding that his partners made a deal and blamed him for
They
That's
did.
known. Yeah, and they interviewed both of the people who committed the crime multiple times, giving them an opportunity to tell their side of things. But
I believe the kids
never-
call that an op.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, or just a
So
rat.
they give them plenty of ops. They gave them a lot of ops to tell, and they did, and they told their story, and they told their story, and then by like the 12th interview for one of them, they then brought my dad up. Like, where did he come up?
So how long was the trial? How long was pre-trial?
The arrest happened March 1st of 2018. He was getting letters like different deals, 13 years, 8 years, then turned to
13
Yeah,
years is
8 years
a
as
deal?
a deal. He's like, no, 8 years as a deal. No, here's 13. And he goes, tell them to go fuck themselves. I'm not admitting to it. I'll go to trial. And our family was like, don't go. Everyone was like, do not go to trial. This is the Southern District. It's like the New York Yankees. They don't miss, they don't go to lose. And this is the percentage. And he's like, I'm going to trial.
Yeah.
And he did. He was, I mean, based on just basically like their call, like they called each other. Like some guy from AT&T sat there like he was like, so it was a complete, I mean, exactly
It
what
was
you
a
would imagine. You
joke.
think what's
It
going
was a
on
fucking joke.
government wise, like on a higher level, is insanity. You should see like the circus that was put on and who was put on the stand. Insane stuff. But long story short, there's no opportunity that made us look at everything different in life. Everything, things that luckily we never ever had to look at
Mhm.
as white women, as privileged kids. We never ever looked at what was, to be honest, I never looked at stuff that didn't concern me when it comes to people of color being put away 4 times as much, sentences being longer, the government having so many resources, and one person who, will give away their life savings to kind of just
How
clear
much
their
money did your
name.
dad spend in his defense? Do
I
you know?
can't even imagine. And then the sentencing lawyer. I mean, he lost his business, he lost his reputation, he lost his license to ever practice insurance and financial services again. So all of that considered, he lost everything.
How much time did he end up serving?
He went in September of 2019. Because of COVID, he was released in March of 21.
Oh, so you
On
know what?
house arrest.
If it's 2 years, he beat their offers anyway.
In a camp, yes. In Otisville is where he went. He was going to a camp, and it would have been okay, but they were put in solitary confinement during COVID
Mm.
for like 33 days at a time,
Oh, wow.
34 days at a time. Yeah. So, you know how I feel.
Yeah,
That's-
but this is so.
Couldn't bathe. Also, they could not bathe. They would only get, I believe it was every 3 days they could bathe.
No, it was longer than that, and they had the same styrofoam cup from like the beginning of it till
During
like when they were out.
COVID,
Like they
in a
gave them
prison.
nothing was sanitary, nothing was humane.
Mhm.
Pretty unreal stuff.
It's actually disgusting.
That's how Americans are treated. And then
So
Yeah.
this is kind of informed my politics, right? It is seeing things like this. Now I don't know the case, so I can't speak to your father's innocence or guilt. I can take your word for it, and I don't know why you'd lie at this point, right? So the concept of good, bad, right, wrong, law and order has kept this country. There's two things really that America is built on. The United States of America is, to my knowledge, the first country ever in the history of humanity to not come from to grow out of a like-minded culture, either a tribe or a religion, right? The Bell guy, Belgium, can trace their tribal origins back 4,000 years.
Yeah.
The Celts in Ireland, right? Like America is a country built on principle. America is a country built on two concepts, and two concepts have held this country together for 250 years. It is mutual prosperity. I'll put up with you, and I'll put up with you no matter how different we are, because we can make money together in this place. I don't care if you're a Muslim. I don't care if you're Jewish and I'm Christian. Hey,
land of opportunity.
we figure it
Right.
out, and I'll buy your apples and you buy my oranges, and like we'll come together, right? That's number one. And number two, whether it's right or wrong, and you said like there's been chinks in the armor for a long time, but for the mass majority, the idea is we were all on some level equally treated and fairly treated in the eyes of our government and our judicial system, right?
It was a nice concept. Well, it lasted.
Well, here's the thing, right? Black people, like you said, they've been on this for a very long time. And if they could do what they've been doing, and when I say they, I mean our government, to their political opponents for the last 4 years, 8 years really, but for the last 4 years, look at what they were able to do with Trump, a billionaire,
Mhm.
the power that he has, the influence that he has, the connections he has, the resources that he has. He was found guilty.
Mhm.
And they raided Mar-Lago. How does somebody, just a dad of trying to run a household in Secaucus, New Jersey, stand a chance?
A lot better than the person who sold a little weed in the 80s, the black man in Brooklyn, who's still in prison to this day, while there's doctors prescribing marijuana. Like, that's how bad.
Yeah. And
Like, if that's what they could do to the president, what can they do to
and
everyone else?
shockingly,
It's unreal.
Kamala Harris is one of those people that put that man away
Yeah.
forever. Kamala Harris would laugh about a third strike law where a guy with a dime bag will now spend the rest of his life in prison
That's
as a ward of the
exactly
state.
what it was. It was a dime bag, which is
Well, there's a guy who just was I think was just a 60-something-year-old man. We can look this up, guys. There's a sick, and I can see a bunch of the comments, Skylar. So please, whenever, buddy, I can
Of
like
course,
see
man,
them,
I got
dude.
you.
Go ahead.
So, YG23 says, Gerard, you think they'll ballot cheat and ruin their reputation live?
Yes. Next question.
Think so? All right, same guy. It's gotten so annoying hearing Dems use the word democracy so much. They keep repeating it again and again. Makes me not even care whatsoever. It means.
And who is that,
That's just
Skylar?
fine.
Just
It looks
who
like
was-
YG23. I'm trying to get a
YG23.
read on it. Yeah,
This is not random. You have to
right.
turn your mic off, Skylar. You have to understand, guys, that they're following a playbook. Okay. There's a book everybody listening needs to read called Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky. All right. And the rules for radicals, well, hell, we're here. I've got the internet. Let's do it together. Hey, Siri, what are the rules for radicals? You tell me, guys, if any of this sounds familiar to you. Okay. Saul Alinsky happens to be the mentor of none other than Barry Soetoro. You guys know who Barry Soetoro is? Barry Soetoro is the name Barack Hussein Obama went by for the first 23 years of his life.
interesting.
Yeah, he actually had a foreign citizen visa to get into Harvard, but we're not allowed to talk about that. Barry Soetoro. So the rules for radicals, guys. Tell me if any of these sound familiar to you here. And so, you know, the concept of the big lie has been it's been bastardized, but the truth is James Lindsay calls it the iron law of woke projection. Whatever they are doing, they project onto their enemies. They say that their enemies are attacking democracy, then you can damn well be sure they are attacking democracy. Also, we are not
cheating spouse or
It's-
like
it's
a
what?
partner. It's like a partner. Like when somebody's acting like you, I know what you're up to. Usually they're the one that's doing that.
Yeah,
It is the human brain.
it's gaslighting. And
It's gaslighting, and it's also when you're guilty of something, you think everyone, oh, why are you putting? Oh, I don't know. I was just watching TV. You're the one doing it.
and why
yeah.
I bring up your lived experience and what your father went through is not to try to exploit your pain for my clout. Although I do
Not
hope
at
that
all.
happens. Please like and share. It's because every single person who runs our government is a lawyer.
Mhm.
Most of them prosecutors, not defense attorneys. So the people who prosecuted your father and the people who signed off, the judge who signed off on that no-knock raid,
Mhm.
right? Those people end up in politics. Those people are appointed by politicians. Those people empower themselves.
Can I tell you that the judge that my dad went against is the same one that Trump did in the Southern District, the same judge that was appointed by
Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton. And there's a book called The Chicken Shit Club on this judge. He's corrupt. He comes down really hard on the small guys and lets the big guys go.
This is Aragon.
This is
No,
Was
Judge
it the Spanish guy or the
Kaplan.
Jewish guy?
Kaplan.
Kaplan. Yeah. He's the guy that James O'Keefe got in Long Island going, we need you to get him. And he's at the gym and he goes, we'll get him. Well, you're the judge. You're not the
You're the
prosecutor. Who are
judge.
you
That's
getting?
scary.
Yep.
You're
Yeah,
so-
man.
Yep.
yeah.
So here are the rules for radicals, guys. This is basically the Bible for American communists. This is what the entire progressive movement is based around. Here are the rules. Rule number 1. Power is not only what you have, but what the enemy thinks you have. 2. Never go outside the experience of your people. 3. Whenever possible, go outside of the experience of the enemy. 4. Make the enemy live up to its own book of rules. 5. Ridicule is man's most potent weapon. There is no defense. It is almost impossible to counterattack ridicule. It also infuriates the opposition, who then react to your advantage. You're a racist. You're a sexist. You're a misogynist. And the whole time you're defending yourself from baseless accusations, all you're doing is proving to their people, their expertise, well, everybody's racist, so this guy must be racist. It's so manipulative. This is how to manipulate people, okay? 6, a good tactic is one your people enjoy. A nice friendly march, maybe some looting. 7, a tactic that drags on too long becomes a drag. It's time to go, Joe. 8, keep the pressure on. 9, the threat is usually more terrifying than the thing itself, describes Hillary Clinton. 10, the major premise for tactics is the development of operations that will maintain a constant pressure upon the opposition. 11, if you push a negative hard and deep enough, it will break through to its counterside. This is based on the principle that every positive has its negative. Once again, if you push a negative hard and deep enough, it will break through to its counterside. Nothing about any of this has anything to do with truth, love, tolerance, or harmony. 12, the price of a successful attack is a constructive alternative. 13, pick a target, personalize it, polarize it. That is the rule book for what we have been dealing with for the better part of the last 20 years. This is a communist revolution. This is a centralization of power coming from the international community, financing it through our academic systems and our churches. And we are all the victims of it. And it just makes you wonder, like, okay, so what happens in a situation like your father? Let's assume your father is 100% innocent. Let's assume that you're right. Let's assume he's 100% innocent. Now, I hear a story like this. Skylar hears a story like this. Our audience hears a story like this. And we get a knock on the door at 5 o'clock in the morning. Am I going to trust the legal system? Am I going to trust the process?
I used to. You shouldn't, though.
Well, that's the thing. So now what's my other options here? Go out in a blaze of glory. That's my other option? So what are my options, right? Like what are our options? If they can bankrupt you through lawfare, if somebody like Alex Jones can build a company, whether you like Alex Jones or hate Alex Jones, whether you think he's a clown, who cares? The guy builds a company, he builds a media empire, he employs hundreds of people, and he gets $1 billion judgment against himself for being wrong. Now, he was wrong, and he was an asshole. Yeah. He was wrong about Sandy Hook. The media has been wrong about everything.
It's not illegal to be an asshole, though, and it's not illegal to be wrong.
Yeah,
and to have an opinion.
Well, in fairness, just to be clear, it wasn't a criminal charge.
Okay.
All right, it was a civil case, but a civil case that the FBI organized. What is the FBI doing? Organizing civil cases
much bigger things
against American citizens.
And if he's like such a dumb whatever in their mind, and out of his mind, and not a voice worthy of having, like, why is he such a threat? Doesn't the FBI have bigger things to worry about then?
Yeah, you would think, right?
And someone they just disagree with.
So this is, and it's as cliche as it is, and Skylar, it looks like there's more comments. Again, just call them as they come in. The old Russian saying is like, why didn't they stop communism, right? It was like, well, first they came for the conservatives, but I wasn't a conservative, so I said nothing. Then they came for the businessman, but I wasn't a businessman, so I said nothing. Then they came for the Jews, but I wasn't a Jew, so I said nothing. Then they came for me, and there was nobody left to say anything, right? And the lawfare aspect and how comfortable, why this Biden administration and whoever they replace them with has to be defeated. And I'm not a huge Trump guy. I'm not a MAGA guy. Why this regime has to be defeated is because of how comfortable they have become
with weaponizing
the government against its own citizens.
I couldn't agree more. That's where it gets scary. That's what you do to somebody that you disagree with. That's like where I draw the line. It's unbelievable. You don't have to agree with either one, but this is like, it's taken it so far. Well, it's really scary that's what they could do to somebody that was president. What can they do to the average person?
Yeah, and the idea that this is just happening now, like Megan said before, that oh well, it's justified because they have to get rid of Trump. Trump's a fascist, you know. But they kind of blew it. They really blew it with the whole Trump is Hitler thing when they all wished him a speedy recovery after he was shot. Like, why? Okay,
If he was Hitler, would you be wishing?
we
That's
can't
weird.
live in that
can't do
live in that
both.
dual reality, right? He's
Yeah.
either Hitler or
I love dual realities. I'm a delusional queen. But that doesn't make any sense, even for me.
what is what what?
Megan says I'm delusional like 3 times a day, and I am.
Very delusional.
But even
It's
to me, that
actually,
does
like,
not make sense.
It used to be entertaining. At this point, I'm just like, girl.
We need
another
examples
story.
because I don't. What's an example of the
No,
delusion?
we'll text you examples, and we'll have them for next time.
Yeah,
Okay.
'cause they're pretty
Excuse me.
bad. I wouldn't
I'm
even
like,
put her
no.
on blast like that.
Really? How bad are we talking here?
It's like this girl lives in like fantasy land.
What? Why? What's the?
I thought you were Prince Charming. She's telling me otherwise.
Yeah.
This is
Well, here's a perfect example. Someone's hot.
Mhm.
They have a million and one red flags, but Amanda, they'll eventually change and become a very good person.
Oh, that's good. You always want somebody to see you for the person you can be, not the person that you are. You know, you
for
always.
the character I made in my head, not the facts that are in front of me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
And then she thinks white picket fence and all this. And that,
I thought you were all in on Theo Vaughn. I thought you were all in on trying to get Theo Vaughn being Mrs. Theo
Why?
Vaughn.
I'm still all about that.
Well, it sounds to me like you're in your
You-
mind at
actually,
least
in your
cheating on
head-
in your head. You're cheating on Theo Vaughn.
That would
This
be
is
double
no way.
delusion.
This is no way to start.
That would be delusional times 2.
Theo, I am so very sorry that you had to find out like this. You know, she was waiting for
No.
you for a very long time,
Oh.
and
I'll have
you know,
dinner every single night by 5 p.m.
for Theo,
Mm-hmm.
5 p.m.
That's
That
see,
seems
this
that
is
seems
why-
I
early.
swear.
This is where she's delusional.
I will
She
do
is like,
laundry
I
and
would,
everything.
like,
I would really.
No, let's be real. You'd sit on the couch with a dog, eating all day, doing nothing, and then the
That's
guy
so
is
2 years
actually
ago.
pissed that you're not having food on the table, or that the bed's not made and the laundry's not done, and
But for
very-
the right guy, you're saying you
Oh,
would.
yeah, I would
For the
change
right
for the
guy,
right person.
you
yeah,
would
she
change.
will
I would
change for
even
the right
give up
per-
weed and
guy.
everything.
They'll change for her.
I don't. Yeah, I think. I think. Megan, I really appreciate your cynicism. I appreciate the fact
Back
that
to
you.
the double delusion of
no-
the government.
There's no way that she can change. She'll never change.
And that's the lightest.
Yeah, really.
delusion.
As Leonard Skinner had said.
Really.
There is no change.
I believe people could change. However, I will say how you do anything is how you do everything. As the great Dan Holloway would say here from the Drinking Bros podcast, how you do anything is how you do everything. As somebody that's made a lot of changes in my life, they start very, very smallly and they accumulate over time. If you want to make a change, it's just daily wins. It's just daily wins. If you want to, but I will say, the right person, the right catalyst can make changes. For the right reason, we all find our why. So I'm on your side, Amanda. Theo, come save this girl, please. She needs saving, Theo.
Take
I
her
need
off my hands,
a-
please. I'm getting sick
A
of it.
Southern gentleman. I think that would fix everything. That's the one thing that hasn't been in this life.
So like go
A
to
God-fearing
Why
Southern
don't-
gent.
Mm.
why don't you go to like Georgia or like the Carolinas or something and go find them?
No.
All right.
No, they have to come to her.
Yeah, they're gonna find her when she doesn't go out because she
Yeah, the irony of it being
she's
the
on our
more
couch all the time.
well, you see the irony of it being the more you go out, the less likely one of those Southern gentlemen are going to want you. But how are you going to find those Southern gentlemen if you never go out?
I go to church.
There you go.
Oh,
Ah.
that's
That's
a
it.
start. That's a good start.
Are you a church going? Do you girls go to
No.
church?
Sometimes, yeah.
I'm a religious person
Yeah, I do.
in
Okay.
my own Catholic way. I don't do church every Sunday though.
I
Never
don't-
do.
I
Maybe when
don't-
I have kids.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I do not go every Sunday.
Yeah, because
but-
you're at 11 till
hungover.
8 o'clock in the morning. How are you going to go to church? Go straight to church from 11?
Hey, there's some Saturday nights
That
I do
would be
stay.
kind of. You'd still be up.
It's apropos. It is apropos. Like walking from
Yeah.
11 straight, like don't even sit in the mass, go
You
straight
just
to confession.
wash all the
No, as
filth.
soon as I walk in, the place goes up in flames.
Yeah. Making light of the situation, but what your family went through sucks, and I think about things like this a lot because again, if they can do it to you, and it's not just like a they, like the Tea Party is a massive organization that had millions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of people. It doesn't exist anymore because Obama decided that the IRS was going to submarine it. Obama, our Nobel Peace Prize winning, the great communicator, everybody loves Obama. If you look at what he did, he had the FBI spying on the Trump campaign before Trump was even president. Right? He had the IRS targeted against his conservative opponents. He weaponized the government against his own people. These are American citizens. This is the government being weaponized against the people the government is supposed to work for. We're paying.
I was just getting to that. I'm like, bitch, you work for me.
Yeah.
That is insane. That's like well, we're not going to go there, but it is like staff, it's turning on you. It's like, excuse me, like, I pay you to keep me safe and to keep this fair.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
supposed to be looking at,
No, but then
Vote
now
no.
they say you owe it, like they're sheriff of Rottingham. They come and give the taxes or else. They're the ruling class. It's feudalism. We're the peasants. They're the lords and ladies of the tower.
Mhm.
And it's infuriating. And I guess we all kind of have to have our own line in the sand. And on a certain level, I think every reasonable person is giving it this last election and saying, man, on one level, we're really hoping something changes. We're really hoping for something different.
What happens if nothing does?
Well, that's the question. What is different?
What is next if
Not
it's
good stuff.
if there's no if we're gonna deal with what we're going to deal with?
another robbed
Another-
election, if that's what you
Right.
could call it,
What
another election that doesn't go, that just is certainly not. This is not a reality. If somebody like unpopular becomes, if the VP becomes our ticket,
Sure.
and wins, air
Yeah.
quotes, then yeah, it's kind of like that. It's clear that that's not the popular vote. He couldn't even win, so how would she? And I think people would become like pretty upset, and it's going to get scary after that.
I think it'll get scary before that, to be honest with you. I mean, look, if it starts to look more and more and more like this wasn't just some crazy lone gunman,
Mhm.
that this wasn't just some kid with a god complex or something, like if it comes out that there's some kind of MK Ultra thing behind this, if it comes out
How
that
would
there-
it come out? It's not going to come out anywhere except for places like that.
there's leaks, there's cracks in the armor.
Yeah.
Now I think that a lot of people that are behind the scenes, at the end of the day, these are still just humans.
Mhm.
Amanda, the government is just humans.
evil ones, but
What
they're human.
Well,
but
hopefully there's a few
there's
good
some
ones.
people that aren't evil, that are being forced to do evil. And what ends up happening, when you ever hear like the snake eats its own tail,
Mhm.
right? Like, so they have done so much ratchet shit on such
Megan
a
too.
global scale for so long that eventually the cover up starts to eat itself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's like you start like,
Eventually, yeah, it's you're called on your bullshit.
well, now it seems less than
out
23%, less than 23% of all Americans trust cable news. Less than 23%, which makes me wonder who the hell the 23% are, first of all. So that means right off the bat, 77%, 77 out of 100 people that are told something by the news go, nope, no, nuh-uh, don't believe you, right? I believe Congress right now has an approval rating of like 11%. So again, 11 out of every 100 people approve of the job our government is doing. So we're all in agreement that this is not working. Everybody, right, left, white, black, gay, straight, where you say this is not it.
No.
But if nothing changes, then we have to question, okay, wait a minute. So everybody doesn't like the powerful, but the powerful keep getting more powerful. How does that happen?
Because we're not
Exactly.
united.
How does that
Because
happen?
if we were united, instead of labeling every fucking gender and whatnot and color, if we looked at each other as Americans, we can be powerful against them and united.
I agree with you, but I think before we get there, this is where I disagree, and this is where people always talk about like, oh, you don't have you're using incendiary rhetoric, you're dividing us. I think you have to take the people that would divide us and you have to ostracize them and make them so unpopular.
Mhm.
You have to tell the people that are always like anti-white, anti-straight, anti-male, and you got to bully them into shutting the fuck up before we can have any unity. Because the truth of the matter is that most humans don't care. Most Americans don't care. They just want to be left alone. 90% of us just want to be left alone.
Mhm.
So they'll follow whoever the 10% seem like they have power and strength.
Mhm.
And I think now the normal people, unfortunately, have to get more aggressive to showcase some power and showcase some strength. So that let's say that it's 80%. Let's say it's 10% on the left and 10% on the right vying for the actual power and control over the culture. And the 80% in the middle don't care. Whatever. You want me to fucking, wearing pink hats and, give 80% of my money to taxes. I don't like it, but whatever, I'll do it.
Mhm.
If you say it's the best and it's not going to get me in trouble, they'll do it. They'll go along with it. Right? So our side, who knows that that is the road to serfdom, that's the road to slavery. We can't be nice anymore. They have weaponized our kindness. They have in fact used our kindness as a weakness. Now we have to stand up in front of it and go, no, shut the fuck up. No, shut up. No, this is bad. I don't
No.
care about whether the Little Mermaid was black or not. Make a
Right.
better fucking movie. Like, I don't care.
Right.
Like you don't like, it's not a free pass.
Why should that bother anyone? Like, it's unreal that that's what we're worried about.
I'll tell you why,
I
because
know.
it's okay,
unreal.
because they think that they're trying to present that as an achievement, and they're trying to present that as an achievement so that when Kamala Harris comes into office, it's also an achievement.
It is.
No, it does. It's
Well,
fucking not.
If you've ever seen a little black girl see a black baby doll or the Little Mermaid, I've seen like some really awesome videos of this is why representation is important, because if I had a little girl and she saw herself as the Little Mermaid or a doll that looks like her
Mhm.
or a powerful position in the White House, it's pretty awesome.
No, it's fucking not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
How?
Because she sucked her dick to get there. She sucked dick to get
Different. That's maybe her and that
there.
situation.
No.
But the
I
Little
disagree with
Mermaid,
you. I disagree with
there
you
should
completely.
be a variety of every little girl should have a princess that looks like them.
No, they shouldn't. Make your own
Yeah.
shit. Make your own shit. Why does it got to be the Little Mermaid? Make another movie called fucking My Mermaid, and it's its own movie. It's its own thing.
There should just be little girls or little boys that see themselves as a superhero, and I don't know, because everyone should have someone to look up to in a positive way.
But you just 2 seconds ago said that we have to get to a world where race and color don't matter.
They
But
don't.
now we have to. But
But
then
you
we have to
shouldn't-
stratify.
No, I'm not saying every single thing that has been white in the past has to be black now. That's ridiculous and phony and just the cheapest marketing
Sure.
piece of shit stuff I've seen.
So,
It's so fake.
but think about what you're
But
saying, Amanda. Wait,
yeah.
because I'm sure that you're coming from a good place, but I could
I
not,
promise I am.
under any circumstance, disagree with you more about this. Should there be a Sri Lankan baby? Should there be a Cambodian, albino?
Whoever's buying, yeah, there should be little person
There
out
should
there,
be
every little girl out there
8
should
billion
see.
versions of the mermaid. So
Brunette Amanda didn't want the blonde Barbie. I wanted the Barbie that looked like me. Every
so-
little girl should have that. Is all I'm saying.
So when I was growing up and I wanted to be Daryl Strawberry or Lawrence Taylor,
Mhm.
that wasn't okay. I should have been rooting for a white guy on the
No,
Yankees
it's
or
not
the
about
Giants.
rooting. Absolutely not. You should have been able to pick up an action figure that looked like you, and you had that, so you wouldn't understand otherwise. And neither would I, really.
No, I disagree with you completely.
I'm going to show you the videos of these little black girls seeing the Little Mermaid commercial. And being
I've
like, "Mom,
seen them. I've
she's
seen them.
black." That's
okay,
pretty awesome.
So
It is, it's-
to your point, okay. How many years of a black president have we had in America?
Not that many.
How many?
8.
8. How many years of an Irish Catholic president have we had in America?
He died by assassination. Not
And
that
now
many.
Joe Biden.
Is he Irish Catholic?
Yeah,
I didn't.
claims. Well, he also claims to be Greek and Spanish and black, and I can see where the
Yeah.
confusion would be. So 6.
Okay.
Now I'm Irish Catholic.
See?
I don't identify as white. I identify as Irish Catholic.
Right.
So do I sit here and I look at this world and go, oh man, I can't make it in this world.
No.
There's no
'cause
Irish Catholics.
No.
How many Irish Catholics are in the NBA?
I wish
Do
more.
I
I
look
wish
at it and
Irish
go,
I wish I could say this person's Irish Catholic and I'm so excited. But no, I don't. I never felt like, because we're white, so it's different. We've never felt like that can't be us or that's not us. Like I'm looking at Bruce Lee right now.
Mhm.
If there was an awesome movie like about martial arts and it was amazing and I was like a little girl and the girl looked like me, I'd find that badass because that's what I was into. I was into Taekwondo as a little girl.
Mhm.
So if I found that, I'd be like, holy shit, this is great. It's a matter of being represented and little people seeing themselves in the hero or the princess.
But
It's
there's a
just cool.
narcissism in what you're saying that it has to look like you. It has to look like you
Like,
for
you
you to
could
see
do that.
But
Interesting.
again, the Mary Sue trope, of like, oh wow, she likes Taekwondo and she beats up dudes. Now you're gonna go to high school, try to hit a dude and get your face caved in. Like, I mean, it's not.
No, it's just like, oh, cool, that's a badass, and I could be one too. Like when it comes to entertainment and fantasy and cartoons, it's not that. I don't think it's that deep, and I don't think that our vice president.
I think it's pretty deep when you're saying that it's a good thing for somebody like Kamala Harris, who we've established is corrupt,
Mhm.
who we've established is a statist who laughs at putting her own citizens, regardless of race, in jail
Yeah.
for life, who used her sexuality to get ahead.
Is that proven though?
Yeah,
the
she gave head to
sexuality
get
thing?
ahead. 100%. Willie Brown. It's 100%
But if like
proven.
I was in a position of power, everyone would be like, it's because of her tit. Like, do we know that? Do
Mhm.
we know that? Is there like footage of that? Do we know that she slept her
she
way or
had
sucked
needed-
her
she
way?
had- look
She
up
did
Willie
admit
Brown.
that?
Willie Brown.
I mean, I've heard this stuff. I don't.
The point is that merit matters.
Mhm.
Merit, not
Who you are, what you've done, your skill matters.
that's what matters. The
100%.
fact right now she is vice president of the United States, at which Tulsi Gabbard, another female of color, should have ended her political career. She's vice president of the United States and might end up being president of the United States simply because of the color of her skin and her
That's
genitalia.
wild to me. Nobody, based on. I'm not saying the Little Mermaid should have been black because she's black.
Mhm.
This actor, the best actor, should be casted the role.
Mhm.
The people casting that role should have never considered anything. If it just so happens that it's something different than history, cool. That's something different.
Mhm.
And that made other girls feel special. The redheads felt good for a while. Like, I'm just saying I think that's how it should be. But I don't think anyone should get anything based on what they look like, where they were born, their class, gender, or race.
But we can agree that that is what's been happening for the
Of
last few
course.
years, right? Like, I mean, we don't have to
Absolutely.
live in a crazy world where people deny that that's
No, and there
happening.
was, believe it or not, speaking of Disney and Marvel, there was something about all the characters that were once white and are now black. To me, that's so blatant. It's so phony.
It's
so-
lazy.
it's lazy, and it's where's everyone else?
Patronizing.
Where are the Asians? Like,
Now, there you go.
It's like weird. It is weird. And I just seen like a tweet where it was like 100 faces. I think Elon. It's
Mhm.
just like the strangest thing, and it's like it's just so blatant. And these people, the liberal elite, wouldn't be so kind in real life. And it's very phony. That's all I'm saying.
100%. So again, when I look at somebody like a Kamala or whoever, and even what they're talking about now, go ahead, Skylar.
All right, so we got a few comments.
Mhm.
First, we have Uncircumcised Circus saying, this is why women can't be serious political leaders.
Why?
Which is kind of funny.
Based on my voice, that's correct.
And Luke himself is he made a comment about the volume, which should have changed.
Thank you, Luke. Bully them until they get better, Luke.
Yes, please. Uncircumcised Circus says merit. And a problem. We have a problem with the notifications too.
We're having a problem with notifications.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I can't do anything about the notifications from here. But as far as women being able to vote and everything like that, guys, I think, we have 100 years of evidence that proves it was a bad idea, right? I mean, there was no world wars before women could vote. There was no Federal Reserve. I don't know what else. There was no
Wait,
there was no
why can't women
Netflix.
vote? What was the comment? What was the?
I don't know. I'm messing around.
It was just some bullshit
Or shouldn't
comment.
be in
What did he
office,
say?
or
What did he
shouldn't
say?
vote,
Oh,
or
she-
shouldn't
she's-
vote?
Something about
relates
not-
into like the previous conversation, like where he was just like, I think he was just like, making some judgment or something.
Probably
women
about.
being in political power.
Yeah, it was
Women
just
being in political.
some opinion.
Well, listen. All right. If we want to take him seriously for a second, let's take him seriously.
Circumcised
Yeah,
if
let-
I want to take him
He
seriously.
has to be
Is that the
circumcised. That's
uncircumcised circus
uncircumcised.
that
Yes.
commented that?
Yes.
You have
Yeah.
some nerve.
You don't think the uncut shouldn't have a vote?
It's probably a little filthy.
That's a gross. All right, so is it possible? See, I am of the opinion and that I don't think our system. It's. I think Milton Friedman once said that American democracy, our democratic republic, is the worst system except for every other system that's ever existed. It's the best of a bad situation. Governance is always bad. Controlling people is always bad, right? So one thing our founding fathers really did get right, and what they really were spectacular at, is they understood that government attracts power, attracts the worst, and corrupts the best. So they tried to make it as difficult as possible on our elected officials. One of the reasons why our elected officials hate government or hate the Constitution is because the Constitution restricts them. It doesn't restrict citizens. Constitution and the Bill of Rights specifically, it's the first set of rules ever created by a country that tells the government what it can't do, not the citizens what it can't do. Right? Even in the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. That, right? Like, it's telling the people what they can and can't do. Our government, our Bill of Rights starts, government shall make no law. It tells the government what it can't do. That's why these people are always going after the First Amendment, always going after the Second Amendment, because it's rules against them that are meant to protect us. I think that the empathy that you show, that I clearly don't have, it has its place domestically. So I would like to see some sort of a system where let's not overcomplicate how we should run our country. It's a big family. We need a mother and a father. And I think that we should have a foreign policy person. That's your president. And how that person treats people abroad is very, very, very different. The temperament that is needed for the person who looks at its own citizens domestically, and should have more empathy, more grace, more understanding, more patience. Whereas externally, the person that you're talking about, looking at, trying to navigate the entire world, probably needs to be a bit harsher, needs to be a bit more fuck around and find out.
I love that you think I'm not that, like you're right, like the softer, more empathetic. Like nobody's ever described me as that. Because in other ways, like that was just like the Little Mermaid being black, that I showed some empathy. But like in other, like, don't foreign policy. I wish. Like I witnessed 9/11 from my schoolyard. I couldn't have more the opposite of empathy. I couldn't be more hard and like a man when it comes to what I think should be done, and to the people that are coming across the border with fentanyl. Like, don't get me wrong. There's no stupidity that I'm endorsing here.
Have you? Don't take it. Be tougher.
No, I'm like, but you're like empathetic. Like there has to be a mother and a father.
Well,
I'm like, I'm never the mother.
well,
This
let me
is
ask
so
you,
interesting that you place me in the
have
place
your
of like,
opinions on 9/11 changed
no,
over the years?
no.
No, not at all.
What do you mean
No.
changed of the act or how I feel towards?
Do you think the government had anything to do with 9/11?
Yes. I know that they had plenty of warning. I had a crazy conspiracy theorist as a teacher my freshman year of college. And that's all he fixated on. And it was like blocks away. I went to Pace. So
Well, you say he's crazy conspiracy theorist. How much of it has he turned out to be right about?
well, I'm saying he's crazy because he's in his downtime, all he does is watch cat videos and he only eats like 2 different foods. Like he's a real like neurotic.
A crazy conspiracy
Yeah,
theorist.
he's a crazy, and I love him for it. I loved him. He made me like look at the world just from outside of NBC News. Like so I love that, but I hate him for it because it made me like look into the craziest stuff. And yeah, we had warnings, obviously, like we all know there's plenty of stuff out there on the web about 9/11 if you think it just there was some fishy business going on, but I'm just saying when it comes to like when Trump was like, we want to ban Muslims, like, no, that's not the right thing to say. However, coming from, I think from a New Yorker, we're very misunderstood. We don't really speak
Pull punches.
Yeah, well, we don't. And that's like that's why I asked you like last time we were on, would you want a leader that has a heart, has courage, or has a brain? Because somebody with courage that's gonna, like I said, the terminology wasn't right. The way he speaks is very blunt, but I knew where he was coming from. Like the outside, you're going to be protected from the people outside, and maybe branding Muslims wasn't the right thing, but in general, like the outsider, the person that's going to bomb the Boston Marathon, like just in general, we have to be weary of the outsider. And so that's been something that's been in my head since I'm 9 years old, just because I witnessed what the outsider has done to us as Americans.
It isn't an outsider.
No,
That's the
not
thing.
completely.
Yeah. Sometimes I think the call's coming from inside the house, guys. Isn't it weird? Isn't it strange that terrorism just went away during COVID? Just terrorists were afraid of the
Yeah,
flu.
it's true. I didn't think about that.
That every American was either in a
didn't
Target
hear
or a
the-
Costco,
Right.
and
I
all they had
didn't
to do
hear
was
the
blow
word
up a
once.
couple Costcos, and they could have crippled us.
Right.
But no,
They didn't have interest at that point.
no,
Just-
they were the suicide bombers were afraid of the COVID.
of
clearly.
course.
They didn't want to get
because-
sick.
they don't want
You
to
know,
get
they want to be
sick.
they want to be super spreaders now.
No.
Let's I don't know. What do you before we wrap up here, Meg, what do you think of JD Vance as vice president?
I like what I see so far. I do. I think Trump made a solid choice with him. I like that he is a lot younger. He's a millennial, which I feel like we haven't seen in a little while. Or I think, is he the youngest VP?
I don't know. He might be. He's very young.
He's 39.
Yeah.
There's been
And I appreciate his background, his struggle, his come up, his you
His
know.
hillbilly elegy.
Well, I think that he can relate to a lot of Americans right now, especially
Just trying to get by.
just trying to get by. Middle class, lower class. I mean, that's huge
Yeah.
because those people, especially lower class. I mean,
The system's not working for him.
the system is
it's
not
crushing 'em.
working for them.
Yeah.
And I think he's the right person to be there for
Interesting.
them.
All right. Do you
what do
agree?
you think of him? I don't know much about him, but
Yeah.
anyone that kind of takes a shit situation and turns themselves around, I
Yeah.
totally am rooting for. And I think he's, I don't know, from the heart. I liked his speech.
Yeah. He's the most like Trump, which is odd because he called Trump in 2016 an American Hitler. I was very much against the pick, and then the aforementioned Dan Holloway kind of changed my mind on it. It was a death blow to the neocons in the party, the people that I hate, the Dick Cheneys of the world, the Cheney families, the Rumsfeld families, the Bush families. It was Trump telling them that they have no voice anymore. I would have liked Vivek like cake. I'm sorry. I would have liked Tulsi Gabbard. To me, that Tulsi was the home run, because any moderate Democrat, that was the olive branch. That any RFK voter, that was the hey,
That's who I want.
come on
Yeah.
over.
I agree with that too.
But I think that it's interesting because Vance is definitely assassination insurance, because he's MAGA and he's a young Trump. He's like, all right, you're gonna kill me. You're gonna get a 39-year-old me. Go get him, buddy. You know. So I don't know. We'll see. I did not like Mike Pence. So I do think in a 78-year-old presidential campaign, the vice president is very, very, very important. I don't love that it pulled a Republican senator off the floor in a swing state, but we'll see. DeSantis would have been interesting.
I like DeSantis a lot.
There's a better than 50% chance, man. If Trump wins this election, he'll be 82 at the end. Whoever we're voting for vice president might actually really matter here. So I hope Vance is up for the job. He seems like a smart guy, but who knows, man? Time will tell. If you, to wrap this thing up, if there's any other comments before we go,
There's a couple more.
go ahead.
All right, so Uncircumcised Circus says Benjamin Netanyahu definitely had something to do with 9/11, hence why he's proud to be uncircumcised.
I'm just playing with you.
Not like that. You're not.
No.
And we have Luke himself saying females feel they can think like a man because of solipsisms. And their point of view is the only view in
Skylar,
existence.
why don't
and
we
it's
why don't we
not
try
just
this again and act
right.
like you know how to read and write, bud?
All right.
Yep,
Hold on,
there we go.
Hold on. All right, so Travis gives you a shout out saying G Money.
What's up, Trav? How you doing? Fight, my
And
goons.
Luke himself says how is Biden going to be removed from the ballot in Nevada and Wisconsin when it requires 25th Amendment or death to be replaced?
Ah, that's a very good question. Very good. Now we're getting into the good stuff. Now we're getting into the legalese. Oh, you want lawfare? See, what we have right now is we have a broken microphone. What we have right now is we have good old-fashioned political infighting. We have the Game of Thrones. These people have been rigging shit for their own power for so long. Now the snake is eating its own tail. You have the Clinton faction who wants Hillary to take another bite at the apple. You have the Obama faction who wants Kamala to go in there so Barack could have his 4th term as president. And then hiding in the weeds, the Pelosi faction. The Pelosi faction where her nephew Gavin Newsom runs for president. Now, some people are floating Gavin Newsom as a VP. There is no way, no shot in hell that greaseball is leaving being the governor of the 4th largest economy on earth. I don't know if you guys know this. If California fell off and became its own country, it would be either the 4th or the 5th most rich country on earth.
Wow.
On earth. Okay? There's no way Gavin Newsom is leaving that to become Kamala's VP. So take that away. And a Kamala Gretchen Whitmer ticket is very interesting because that's very much who the Democratic Party is now, right? Like, it's really angry single women, black women, and gay people. That's who the Democratic Party represents now, right? It has nothing to do with the working class anymore. It has nothing to do with the common man. It's not the party of the unions like it was when we were growing up. But now it's angry women, less and less black people, almost no brown people, and, gays, right? But gays that are bad at life because the rich gays live in Florida, and when they whisper to you, they're like, but I'm a Republican. And we're like, really? I thought they couldn't say gay down here. They're like, no, I like dick. I'm not stupid. And that's the answer that they come to, right? So the idea here is, I think, in the end, well, let me see who you girls think first. Who do you think is coming out of the Democratic, the primary? Go back to me here for the air quotes here. Primary. They have some balls calling this a primary. Who do you think the United Nations, NATO, and the global elites are going to choose as the Democratic candidate?
A woman, but I'm not sure which one. I really don't know.
Make the choice.
Not Harris. I don't think it will be.
I think it will be Harris.
I don't think it will be. But
I don't.
I'm not that threatened if it is.
Kamala?
Yeah.
You girls, you think it's Kamala?
I hope it is.
Possibly, or I genuinely don't feel like it would be Michelle Obama, but I feel like a lot of people are expecting that.
Big Mike is the dark horse
I've
in
seen
more
a
ways than
lot.
one.
I've seen a lot of people that do really think it's a possibility. I'm like, how?
For
mhm.
Michelle Obama,
Mhm.
yeah.
I don't think
that would be
Gavin,
worse.
but-
That would be worse for
But I
Kamala.
think it's
It would be way
going-
worse for Kamala if it was Michelle, because that would be an absolute betrayal.
Yeah.
I think it's Hillary.
You think she's bad?
I think it's Hillary. I think
she is.
I think Hillary is.
Hillary.
I think what
She'll
Hillary.
never win.
I don't think she'd win.
I think she's all in on. They were like, if they could get Weekend at Bernie's 81 million votes, get me 81 million votes.
I think if that's the case, of course she'll win. But I think if the American people are voting and they're actually counting the American people's votes legitimately, then I think she has no shot.
So
This would be insane, though. It would be insane from like a debate standpoint. Like, just it would be like the most crazy reality TV.
if I was
Reality
Trump, I wouldn't debate
TV.
anymore.
It
Why would I
it
debate?
would be-
Why would I even give you
It's
the
them
platform?
two
You have
again.
90 days. I'm not.
Right.
I'm not.
No.
Why? No way. Go campaign.
Right.
Why would I give you the opportunity to have that moment? I mean,
Right.
he's a narcissist who loves the stage,
would
so
love
he
it.
would absolutely agree to it.
Yeah.
But I could see his like
No.
his advisors in the background going, "Please stop! Don't do it! Don't do it!" Yeah,
Who do you think, Gerard?
Hillary.
Oh,
think
you
it?
did say that. I'm
Hillary.
sorry. Bear with
Last
me.
question.
It's
And you
getting
girls have
late
been
for
great.
me.
Yeah, no, you girls have been fantastic. Last question, and tell people where they can find you. And obviously, if there's any more comments, Skylar, but
Of course.
how much faith do you have that this is going to be a fair election? How much faith
in
left
the justice system
in
or
in our
faith?
system? Yeah. How much faith do you have in our system that the will of the people is going to be accurately portrayed? That it's not going to be rigged. That
When
the
it comes
people
to an
will.
election.
Yeah.
Oh, not much faith. at
I
all.
don't have much faith, and it's sad because I wish I had. I want to have faith that may the best person win, based on what America votes.
Votes?
But based on votes.
Real
Do you
But
think
on-
the 2020 election was rigged?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Yep.
So then, do you think the 2024 election will be rigged?
I think they will definitely try to.
They will try. There's no pandemic though, so
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay
Yeah.
tuned.
Black Swan event coming
Yeah.
up the day before the election. All electronics go down. This last crowd strike was just the test.
Was
It was the test. You girls are great. I don't care what my troglodyte goon audience says. I love you guys. Please keep bullying the shit out of them. It makes them better. For the great Christian Perello, kept you guys here late. Skylar, sounds like you did a much better job today, buddy. You're coming along.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Did we peak out at all? Did the audio go out?
I think maybe once or twice when you got really excited.
Okay. Well, I was bricked up.
Of course.
So, for the great Christian Perello, for Skylar Kelly, which it's crazy that you're a dude when you have two hot chick names. Isn't that wild? Is your middle name Veronica?
No, I wish.
Skylar Vivian Kelly?
It's funny because my middle name is more manly than both of them.
What's it? Bricked up?
Steven.
Steven?
Ooh, Steven, yeah.
Skylar Steven Kerry?
Yeah, Kelly.
Huh. All right.
Yeah.
That's SS, right? Like that's
Secret
like
Service. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Kelly, are you
oh
Irish?
shit. Are you my Fed handler? If you're my Fed handler, you'd have to tell me.
Let's leave that for
Amanda, Amanda, go ahead and go to Amanda. Go to Amanda.
Of course, gotcha.
Yep, thank you. Amanda, tell them Amanda Merlot, tell them where they can find you.
At White Collar Kids, Spotify, Apple, and
Wherever you
YouTube,
get your
Instagram,
podcasts.
White Collar Kids.
Megan, you were coming next. Megan, tell them where they can. Megan Merlot, tell them where they can find you.
Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and thanks, Gerard.
At 11 at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Absolutely. That's where you could definitely find me.
Any
Now,
final?
thank you for having us.
Oh, my pleasure. We'll have you back again. Any final thoughts for the audience? Any final thoughts? Anything that you want to get out before we go? Cool. All right.
No thoughts.
I have a thought, and that's if you've made it this far, that means that you love me, and I love you. And if you love me, you'll go to telyrx.com. That's TELYRX.com. That's a telehealth company. You no longer have to go to the doctor's office. Sit there in that waiting room with all those other, let's be honest. You're watching Gerard versus Evil. You're going to you're going to urgent care. So you're sitting in there with all the rest of the pavos, sitting in the room waiting for a low-wage doctor to come out and tell you that, yes, in fact, those bumps are sexually transmitted. Then you have to go to the pharmacist and look them in their eye as they read the prescription and see the judgment. And then you walk around the CVS for an hour waiting for it to get filled. It's a nightmare. No more. Go to telyrx.com. That's TELYRX.com. And you will have a telehealth physician right there over your phone. They will diagnose you from your symptoms, and they will prescribe you something that will be directly shipped to your home the next day. And if you use code SNT20, you will save 20% on your first offer. TELYRX.com, telyrx.com. It is the future of healthcare.